You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
I'll have a double turkey sandwich on white, a side order of fries, one of those large knockwares, 3 bags of potato chips, a chocolate milk, and 2 beers. Why don't you have a beer? 3 beers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of the Hacking Humans podcast, an occasional series we are calling Hacking Humans Goes to the Movies. I'm Dave Bittner from the CyberWire, and joining me, as always, is my Hacking Humans co-host, Joe Carrigan from the Johns Hopkins University Information Security Institute. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Dave.
On this show, Joe and I look at clips from some of our favorite movies, clips which demonstrate some of the scams and schemes we talk about on Hacking Humans. And joining us once again this week is my colleague, Rick Howard, the CyberWire's Chief Security Officer and Chief Analyst. Hello, Rick.
Hey, guys. Glad to be here again.
We got some fun clips to share, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this message from our show sponsor. All right, gents, once again, we've got some great clips to share this week. I'm going to start things off for us this week. My clip comes from the movie Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, 1988 American comedy film. This was directed by Frank Oz. Starring Steve Martin, Michael Caine, and Glenn Headley. And the film is the story of a pair of con men, and they are competing to swindle an heiress out of $50,000. And Michael Caine plays a character named Lawrence Jameson. He's a very educated and suave man about town. And his general scam that he runs is he goes around bilking rich women out of their money.
As
and
you
Steve
do.
Martin on,
Right.
as you do, right? It's what I aspire to. My wife loves it when I say, you know, honey, if anything ever happens to you, my next bet is going to be on an heiress. You know, she just loves it when I say that.
Yes. If anything should happen to you, say next Tuesday. Then.
Right. Now, on the other hand, Steve Martin plays a small-time grifter. He's an American rival, and his character's name is Freddie Benson. And the whole movie takes place on the French Riviera. If you haven't seen it, it is a funny movie.
It's one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good one. So do check it out. But this particular scene takes place in the dining car of a train. Steve Martin is sitting down to a very neatly set table with a woman who he does not know very well. If he knows her at all, perhaps they're acquaintances on the train. I don't remember the specifics from the film, but they're not friends or anything ahead of time. And Michael Caine is at a nearby table watching the goings-on between Steve Martin's character and this woman that he sits down with for dinner. So here's the clip from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Good evening, sir. Would you like to
It's the waiter.
Oh, yes. I'm starving. Really starving.
He looks
very
at the
hungry.
menu, reacts like, oh, these prices are expensive.
Whew. I think I'll just have some water. Water? Yes.
Water.
The waiter gives him a look of exasperation.
Water, but you seemed so hungry.
I'm saving my money for something special. My mother.
Your mother?
Well, she's not really my mother, actually. She's my grandmother, but she raised me. My real parents didn't want me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But my grandmother is a wonderful woman. She has a laugh that can make the birds sing. But she's been quite ill lately, and the hospital bills have been adding up. I just want to do my share. It's kind of tough for me because I was never very good with money. I just seem to take whatever the Red Cross pays me and I just give it right back to them.
I'm so moral.
I am going to help my Gram. She is the one who taught me it is better to be truthful and good than to not.
Words of wisdom there.
Right, yeah.
And Michael Caine is hearing all of this and is unimpressed.
Waiter?
What are you doing?
Waiter?
Give this man whatever he wants.
Oh, I can't let you buy me a meal.
Nonsense.
I'll have a double turkey sandwich on white, a side order of fries, one of those large knockwares, 3 bags of potato chips, a chocolate milk, and 2 beers. Why don't you have a beer? 3 beers.
All right.
So, Steve Martin at his best in this movie. I'm a big fan of Steve Martin. I've been a fan of him since I was a kid. I have never seen anything he's done that I haven't laughed at.
Yeah.
And this is just great because he actually is playing a pretty bad con man in this movie.
Right.
And it's interesting how he, everybody, the whole point of this con or of this scene is this is an obvious con. And this woman falls for it.
Right.
And it works for him.
Right.
Right?
Right. Well, let's talk about the con itself.
Right.
So I think it's fairly self-evident, but I think it's worth touching on some of the specifics of the con. So what do we have going on here?
First thing that happens is he comes in and he expresses how hungry he is. Right? Ooh, can't wait to eat something.
Yeah.
And that is audible to the woman, and that's she is the intended audience of that pretext, if you will.
Right.
And then he looks at the prices and I can't afford this. I'll just have the water, right? So he says that he's hungry. Then he looks at the prices and says, I can't have the water, or I'll have the water, meaning I can't afford this stuff. And then, of course, that opens up the door for this woman to come in and say, I thought you were hungry. And so that makes it seem to her like this was her idea. Right. But it's not. She's actually being played here. And he then lays on this story that she, of course, then buys him lunch. And that's the objective of the con, is just for her to, for Steve Martin's character, Freddie Benson, to get this woman to buy him lunch.
Right. To get a free meal.
Yeah. Now, Dave, you and I have often said that I'd rather be conned out of $20 helping somebody who didn't need it than to let somebody go hungry.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
So, this is not a big score for this for Freddie, but it does raise the interest of Michael Caine's character.
Yeah. Yeah. Rick, what do you take away from this one?
I love the way that he is slow and methodical and moral and good. And then when he finally gets what he wants, he just rattles off the menu item, and there's like 20 things that he was ready to go with, right? So,
right. He knew what he wanted all, and he's not just ordering for this meal. He's taking home he's ordering lunch for tomorrow as well, right?
And he's grabbing 2 beers.
Yeah, a couple of beers. I like the way he drops in there that he works for the Red Cross,
right?
But he gives all the money back that he makes. He just gives it right back. So
right back to him. Yeah.
Yep. And then he says the lesson he learned from his grandmother is it's best to be honest and true. And she just, and as Joe pointed out, that's part of what they're doing here, is setting up his character as being a bad con man. He does not have the level of sophistication that Michael Caine's character does. Right.
And as such, his payouts are nowhere near the payouts that Michael Caine's character gets.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say this is not even. I mean, this is right on the edge of being a con versus just begging. All right, so there's
right.
So,
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, because he could have just said, "Hey, I'm hard on my luck here. Would you mind buying me a meal?"
Yeah,
but I don't know. I guess he feels as though he has better success with this,
right?
And it allows him to be a little greedier too. Yeah. No, it's a fun one. And this, like I said, if you have not seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, it's a real treat. It's a great movie, and you will definitely enjoy it. This is just the beginning of some of the things that Steve Martin and Michael Caine do together, and they are a great pairing. And also paired up with Frank Oz, who I think he's a good director for this sort of material.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I recommend it as well.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to Rick's clip. Rick, you have our second clip this week. What do you have for us?
Yeah, this one's a little bit complicated, so I had to do some pre-work on it. So, Dave, just kind of roll the clip, and we'll talk about it afterwards. My movie this week is the 1974 movie The Sting, starring Paul Newman, probably most famous for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and The Color of Money, where he won an Academy Award. and Robert Redford, who was Paul Newman's co-star in Butch Cassidy, but probably best known to our audience as the star of one of my favorite hacker movies, Sneakers. In this scene, we have 4 characters: the Mark, the guy the Conmen team is trying to steal the money from, the fake thief, the fake victim, and Robert Redford. It's 1936 in Chicago, and the clip starts with the Mark walking past an alley, and he hears the fake victim screaming at the other end that somebody has stolen his wallet.
Hey, you there! Stop! Hey, you! Stop that man! Stop him! Stop him! He's got my wallet!
The Mark sees the fake thief running towards him with the wallet, and then Robert Redford just happens to walk by and jumps in to trip up the thief, who then drops the wallet.
Stop him! Stop him!
The thief runs away, and the Mark picks up the wallet from the alley. The fake victim collapses on the ground, and both Redford and Mark run over to assist. Redford tells the Mark that the fake thief knifed the fake victim in the leg and wants to call a cop. But the victim says, no cops.
We got it.
What happened?
Give it to me, please.
He get you with a knife? Hey, you sit tight, old man. You need a doctor. I'll call a cop.
No cops.
And he makes sure to flash a big stash of cash from the wallet so that the Mark can see it.
You want about the law or something?
No, it's okay.
Are you nuts carrying a wallet around like that in a neighborhood like this? No wonder you got hit.
Thanks.
The fake victim can't get up because of the fake knife wound, and then admits that he is a money mule for underground gambling, and he has to deliver the money by 4 p.m., just a few minutes away, or the mob is going to hurt him.
Thanks. I'm obliged to you, but I gotta get going.
You ain't going nowhere from this way. Let me see.
I gotta run some slots down in West Bend for a mob here. I got a little behind in the payoffs, so they figure I've been holding out on them. They gave me till 4 to come up with the cash. They don't get it. I'm dead.
He then offers Redford and Mark $100 to deliver it for him.
It don't look good, Gramps. It's almost 4 now.
I'll give you and your friend $100 to deliver it for me.
I don't know. That mug that hit you is mad enough at me already. Well, what if he's around a corner waiting with some friends?
He won't know you're carrying it. Come on, you gotta help me out.
Hey, I'm sorry, pal. I'm gonna maybe help you get fixed up, get to a doctor, but I ain't about to walk in and no knife for you.
Redford begs off. He doesn't want to get involved, but the Mark takes him up on it. The fake victim gives the Mark $5,000 in cash in an envelope, plus a $100 bill for his troubles.
How about you? All you gotta do is put it in the dough slot. I'll give you the whole 100.
Hey, what makes you think you can trust him? He didn't do shit.
Hey, butt out, chicken liver. I gave him back the wallet, didn't I? How far is this place?
1811 Mason. Put it in box 3C. You won't have no trouble. There's $5,000 there. And here's $100 for you.
Okay, old man, I'll make your drop for you. And don't worry, you can trust me.
Redford tells the Mark that he needs to hide all of that money or he is likely to get it stolen from him too. And then he shows him how to hide the money plus all of the Mark's personal cash in a handkerchief stuffed in his pants. The fake victim keeps ramping up the pressure by telling them to go faster.
If those goons decide to search you, you ain't gonna get far carrying it there.
What'll we do?
You got a bag or something? How about a handkerchief?
Here's a handkerchief.
Here, give it to me. Give me the money.
Just hurry, will you?
You got any more? Better give it all to me if you want to keep it.
They think I've been holding out on them. My wife got sick and I had to pay the bill. I wasn't holding out on them.
Stuff it down
I
your
always been
pants
good
here.
for the money before,
Like
but
that.
this
Got
time
it?
they gave me a deadline.
Yeah.
Hurry, will you?
Ain't a tough guy in the world that's gonna frisk you there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then the Mark runs off with a handkerchief stuffed down his pants and gets into a cab. Later, when he checks the package to count the money, he sees that all he has is a package of tissue paper. Redford had switched the real money with the package of tissues when he stuffed it down the Mark's pants. The $5,000, the $100 bill, plus all the Mark's money.
Where to? Which way's Mason? 20 blocks south. Okay, go north. Joliet Station. Fast. Right. What's so funny? I just made the world's easiest $5,000.
With the Mark gone, the fake victim and Redford run away.
Come on, loser! Man, I'm fading. Come on! Hustle!
All right. Well, wow. There's a lot going on there, Rick. And I have to say, I'm glad that you had your interjections there to kind of make sense because it happens quickly.
It does. And there's, like you said, there's lots of moving parts. And the first one I want to point out is there were 3 members of the con team. You only see really 2 of them, but the thief, the one that took the wallet from the first place, he's in and out quickly. So that's a 3rd guy of the team that we don't hear anything about during the whole clip.
Yeah. So just because it all happened so quickly, let's just review and describe exactly what is the scam here.
So, Joe, I'm going to defer to you on the proper name. I think it's called a pigeon drop, okay? But I'm not sure about that.
I don't think that's pigeon drop. I think it's something else. But, go ahead.
All right. So here's what they do. It's basically they identify a victim. They flash a bunch of cash around and say, please help me deliver this, and we'll pay you extra cash. And then they do an elaborate magic trick where they stick the money down the guy's pants, but in the process, switches out the real money, all right, with a bag of tissue that the guy thinks is the real money. But in the process, when they do the switch, they get his cash also, right? It's an elaborate setup for something that probably isn't a big payoff.
So it's really essentially they're using all of this as misdirection to be able to pick his pocket.
Exactly, right? And the entire movie is all those kinds of things, right? And in fact, if you want to look at the sting, the big con for the movie is they try to do something like that at a very large scale, but they add another twist to it that the Mark walks away and doesn't know that he's been conned, right? So it's another tricky piece, right? So absolutely go look at this movie. It's really long, but really good. And all kinds of famous actors that you've seen in millions of movies. So I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Joe, any other thoughts on this one?
I like one of my thoughts on this. I was as we're listening and watching the clip. It's interesting that the writers and directors of the movie, the production company, they make the guy at the end a bad guy, right? They say, he says, I just made the easiest $5,000 I've ever made. Screw that guy. He can get shot by the mob. And then you don't feel so bad for him, right?
Yes.
Right. But it points out that he, like everyone, is easily motivated by greed.
Right.
Part of why he goes along with it is that in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I'm not just going to make $100 here. I'm going to make $5,100 here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd sleep with myself at night knowing somebody got whacked because I didn't drop off. I mean,
right.
Well, I'm going to bring out another element here too. It's all happening in real time. This opportunity presents itself to the Mark, and then the fake victim does his best to apply pressure by keep saying, "You got to go now. You got to go faster. Please go now. Please.
Right.
Why are you doing so?" It leaves the guy no time to think, and it helps him make a bad decision.
The old artificial time constraint.
Yeah. The other thing that strikes me here is they stick this guy in a cab and send him on his way. So no matter what, they've got a head start on getting away from him, making a run for it. Because even if he's only just a half mile down the road,
right,
the time it's going to take him to tell the cabbie to, hey, stop, turn around, whatever, chances are our scammers are long gone.
And I think that's part of the scam too, because the con is built so that the Mark wants to get away quickly. So and so that's built into the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, good clips today. Lots of fun. We would love to hear from you out there in our audience. If there is a movie clip you would like us to watch here on our Hacking Humans Goes to the Movies specials, you can email us. It's hackinghumans@thecyberwire.com. Our thanks to the Johns Hopkins University Information Security Institute for their participation. You can learn more at isi.jhu.edu. The Hacking Humans podcast is proudly produced in Maryland at the startup studios of Data Tribe, where they're co-building the next generation of cybersecurity teams and technologies. Our senior producer is Jennifer Iben. Our executive editor is Peter Kilpie. I'm Dave Bittner.
I'm Joe Carrigan.
And I'm Rick Howard.
Thanks for listening.